All right, well, they're making their way up here. What we're going to do, each candidate is going to have 60 seconds to do an introduction. Then we will ask them questions. We will rotate who starts, who answers first on each question. From there, just pass the mic to whoever's next to you. So we'll rotate who answers first, but then it's up to you after that. Each question, you'll have 60 seconds. When you have 20 seconds remaining, my good friend Jamie will wave the green card, and then when you're out of time, she waves the red card. And she gets really mean, so when you see that red card, I'd wrap it up pretty quickly there. I think that's pretty much it for the rules here. So like I say, we're going to give everybody 60 seconds to do your introduction, and we'll start introductions with Christian. He's got a mic right there for you.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Christian Johnson. Thank you all for being here today. I really appreciate it. I know you guys have busy schedules, but I do want to say thank you for just coming to hear all of us speak. It really is an honor to be here. Again, my name is Christian Johnson. I am a candidate for Pickerington Local School District School Board. I have been here for over 18 years. I am a graduate of the district, so I am actually a product of the system that I am actually running to represent. I graduated in 2008. I left, got my bachelor's degree in education, so I am a certified teacher. I do have that experience under my belt. Came back, I actually was scared, if you will, out of teaching, but still had a passion. Oh, okay, so again, that was really quick. I do have a passion for the city. I've been here for a while. I bleed violet. I do represent the district in many aspects. I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, I'm a product of the system, and I do have a passion for what I am doing. Hope to. All right. Ooh, that was quick.
Thanks.
All right.
Hello, my name is Keith Christoff. I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you for everyone for coming. Again, Keith Christoff. I am currently a member of the school board. I've been here since 1971, graduated from Pickerington. My kids graduated from Pickerington, and that shows our commitment. We've been active community members, and our passion and our commitment to Pickerington, the city, and I don't believe that you can have a great city, and I think Pickerington is a great city without a great school system. So that's why I've kind of now, after a number of different civic organizations and stuff that I've spent time in, I've focused my efforts, if you will, with the school system. So I really would appreciate if you would re-elect me to the school board on November the 5th, and I guess I'll be answering some questions here in just a couple of minutes. Thanks again.
Sure. Are we doing alphabetical order?
Doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, Rob. Where's he? There you go. All right. Hi, my name is Kathy Olszewski. I am, like my two previous competitors, am a longtime resident of this community, 22 plus years. I am married and have one son who went through the entire K-12 experience in Pickerington schools and will graduate from in December with a job, which is key. I am running because I believe. I believe in this community. I believe in our school system. I believe in our leaders. I believe in our teachers. And I believe in us. And I believe that you, like I, have a passion to make things great in this community and then to work on that greatness to make it even better. I appreciate you being here today. I thank you for your vote in November. My name is Kathy Olszewski.
Hi, everyone. My name is Teslyn Reardon, and unlike these guys, I haven't lived in Pickerington for 20 plus years. I've lived in Pickerington for about 6 years. I have a son that attends 6th grade at Harmon Middle School. So we did make a commitment to this community when we moved in 6 years ago. We knew that it was a good school district. We knew it was somewhere where I needed to get my kid into. He's in special ed classes, so I knew that when we came into the district that Pickerington did have a great special ed program. So I am very familiar with Pickerington schools, even though I haven't been here as long as my counterparts. Anybody live here in the 90s and watched women's or girls basketball? Okay, I played at Logan, so that's all I'm going to say. So you know what I know about Pickerington, right? Pickerington ended my career. They ended my junior and my sophomore seasons. We were the state runner-up to Pickerington in my sophomore season, so I don't hold any bitterness towards that, I promise. I still want all the best that we can do for Pickerington schools, and I'm looking forward to all the questions that are going to come forth, and if you have any questions for me, I've got information at the table. Thank you.
All right, so our first question. We understand there will be a new bond on the ballot in the fall of 2020. What would be your plan to communicate the impact of this bond with our business community? We'll start with Kathy.
I'm not wearing the hat, Rob. What will be the impact on the community? And how long do we have to answer? A minute? Okay. As far as we're aware, the board has not voted yet, but there will be a bond issue on the ballot in November of 2020. It'll be a big one, but it is one of the best. I've been involved in these levy and bond campaigns for years, and this is one of the most well thought out, well designed, well researched, well justified bond issues, quite frankly, that I've ever been involved in. It's a lot about facilities, building a new junior high on the McGill property. You've seen earth moving for a while, expanding the 2 high schools, moving some other grade levels around, and building a central athletic complex, which has been sorely needed in this community for years. This is a good issue. It's a tax hit, but it's a good issue. I support it. I encourage you to support it. If you got any questions, you can ask any of the 8 million board members and the superintendent who are here today, and they'd be happy to talk to you about it. It's a good issue. Next.
Whoever.
Want to go next?
Let's go down the line.
Yeah, so they introduced the proposal, I think, a month or so ago at a school board meeting, and while I do believe there are definitely some facilities that need some improvements, there's definitely facilities that need to be built, but I do think that there is an opportunity to take a chance and to take the opportunity to look to the business community, to our community in general, and see, what are your ideas for the school district? What do you think that we need in our schools? We are, as a community and as business members, we're going to be footing the bill for these changes to the facilities, additional buildings, and things like that. So I believe we need to be as transparent as possible about this and how's the money going to be raised, how's the money going to be used, and then what are different ways that the money is being used within some of those facilities. Are there different options that we could look at? Are there different things that we can explore to make sure that we're being as cost effective as we possibly can with all the dollars that are being raised? I believe that there needs to be just an increase in transparency and taking questions from people and what it's going to mean.
Thank you. Yes, a couple months ago we did actually go through the formal presentation at our board meeting. However, we've been on this for about 2 years, and we have contacted community members, we have contacted businesses, we have asked everyone who's willing to talk to us before, as we planned this. It's called our Plan for Progress. You can see the details on my website. You can see the details on the school's website. The impact on the businesses in our area circles right back around to what I said. Pickerington is a great community, and the cornerstone of this great community is our school system. The growth in the student population in Pickerington cannot be avoided, and the state of Ohio doesn't give us many options on how to build and fund and increase our funds. So a school levy is about the only real option that we have. So yes, we will try to stretch every dollar like we have in the past. In the past, we're very fiscally conservative with your money, and we think this is a great plan.
All right, so I know that I probably stand in the minority, but I have not formulated my opinion on this just yet. So I don't believe in supporting something without having an all-inclusive idea of what a decision is going to be made. So just like I run my campaign, I enjoy and I want to know all aspects of what is going on. So I want to talk to residents, I want to talk to business owners, I want to talk to parents, I want to talk to teachers, to be able to make sure that where my stance is rooted in truth. I understand both sides of this coin. So being in the school systems, I understand that it's needed. I understand the growth. I understand that our students need the space and our teachers need the space. But I also understand, like my mom, who's a homeowner, I understand how that's going to hit her. And I understand how that's going to impact her. So before I decide to take a stance on this issue and whether or not I support the bond issue, I want to make sure that it's rooted in including everyone's opinions, including everyone that everyone that is going to affect. So that is my stance on the issue. Thank you.
All right, our second question. How do you plan to manage the fiscal responsibilities of the schools? We'll start with Teslin on this one.
Thank you so much. Repeat the question, please. I was thinking I was going to have time to think about it. Go ahead.
Sure. How do you plan to manage the fiscal responsibilities of the schools?
Sure. One way to remain fiscally responsible, I believe, is to be transparent in sharing, what the different funding options are, how funds are coming into the school, what those funds are being used for. One thing that I've talked to teachers about, I've talked to my own son's teachers about things that we're missing in the schools and how do we use these funds responsibly. I believe it's time to open up the books, open up what things are being spent on, and looking to see if there's other programs that we could be using the money for. I realize that we've done some of the same things over and over and over because it's comfortable and because it's the way that we've always done things and it's the way that's always worked. But there are ways to, when you throw that up, you throw me off. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I do believe there's ways to look into what money is being spent today and what are other things, other programs, other resources. Are there teachers that we need to hire to bring into the system? Are there support staff we need to hire to bring into the system? I know that, as we've mentioned, the state doesn't do a lot to continue to give to funds to schools, but I think there's a way that we can work through what we've already got.
So when you talk about finances, everyone wants to know when you're on the school board, are we spending your money wisely? And we have been very fiscally conservative with your money. We haven't had a bond levy pass in this district for almost a decade. And we do try to be transparent. There is a website that has each and every check that's written out of our account that's sitting there, so you can see that. Every single meeting, which is twice a month, Ryan, our treasurer, goes through and presents all that, and that's all public record. And our treasurer's department does a great job. They've won numerous awards on being their accountability and what they're doing and how it meets the criteria within the state. But bottom line is we do everything we can to stretch our dollars as far as we can, and try to make sure that we have at the same time, we need to spend some money in order to support the staff and the programs and the education that we're trying to provide for your students, your children, your grandchildren.
So I believe, of course, transparency is key, but also I think, or I know that a large part of that is understanding what is our cause, right? So understanding that as a board member, we are first responsible to our students, we are responsible to our staff, and understanding what their needs are. Again, going back to those conversations, that looks like going into schools, building those relationships to say, if we're going to make sure that we're spending our tax dollars responsibly, we want to also make sure that it's going to be used for our students, used to our staff. So that looks like things beyond athletics. It looks like emotional health. It looks like social health. It looks like getting our teachers some support. What barriers are causing our teachers from not feeling supported? What barriers are causing our students in the classroom to feel as though they aren't being educated well? But that means that we need to go into the schools and we need to figure out what is needed. And then from there, we are responsible enough to take those taxpayer dollars and use them for what we're here for, and that is the students.
I think most of you know that I sat on the Board of Education for 8 years and thoroughly enjoyed my experience. One of the most challenging things to process and comprehend is how the money flows, because it is highly confusing. Public education is an overly regulated institution, and that includes the money. 80 to 83% of the operating budget of any public school district goes to staff and salaries, most of which are negotiated vis-a-vis the unions. So you got about 15 to 20% of your operating budget that you can spend on absolutely everything else. Everything else. Utilities, classroom furnishings, textbooks, computers, everything else. Keith stole my thunder. I worked for 2 different treasurers, one of whom is in this room today, and these treasurers know their stuff, especially the one we have now. Ryan Jenkins has won more awards than any of us in this room when it comes to numbers, and I think as a community member you should feel very confident about that.
All right, and our third and final question here. What is one of the first things you would like to change or improve if elected to the school board? And we'll start with Keith on this one.
Considering I'm on the school board, that's a tough one, huh? What don't I like about what job I've done? No, I really and truly think that the school system is in a very good place. We have a team, our governance team, we call it, our superintendent, which is Chris Briggs, who came to school, 2 years ago now? And Ryan Jenkins and my fellow board members, and we work very well together. We all have strengths, we all have weaknesses, and number one, we don't have any egos and no agenda. And so we lean on each other and what their strengths are and talk to them and stuff, because you can't be an expert in everything. So as far as that goes, I think we're moving forward. We have a plan for progress. I like our direction. I like our team. I like Pickerington Schools, and I think we are widely recognized as one of the best schools in the area. And my goal, I guess, is to make us the best school in Ohio and in the nation.
Thank you. So I definitely echo Keith when I say that Pickerington is absolutely one of the best school systems that we can educate students in. Me being a product of the school system, I would not be here if I did not agree with that. I don't have any huge plans of change, but I do understand that with every great system, there needs to be room for improvement. One of the things that I have found that I think, in just having conversation with staff and students and those within the community, is just the strength of relationships, the strength of communication, the strength of being accessible. So that is one thing that I would like to bring to the board. I've actually had conversations with board members of this exact thing, just saying we need to be a face. People need to know who we are. We need to get at the ground level and just understand what's going on in these schools. I don't believe everything that's made behind closed doors is actually practical. So sometimes we need to just get back to the practicality of things and talk to people who it's going to affect. So that's something that I would like to introduce to the board should I be elected.
Again, there's not a whole lot that we're going to say amongst the four of us that you're going to go, wow, that's a brand new idea. But while we are good, while we are excellent, while we are great, we can always do better. One of my passions in life is communication. Kathy, communicator, But, and so when we went through the cuts, 10, 12 years or so ago, we cut some real key staff, and one of them was a communications director in the district. And that broke my heart. It just broke my heart, because if we can't communicate with our constituents, our stakeholders, our key communicators, whomever you want to, whatever hat you want to wear, then we're missing the boat. Communication is key. And sometimes you guys come to us and you find us, we're there, we got social media pages and we got email. You can find us when you want to yell at us. What I want to encourage you guys to do, come in and meet with us when things are good or when you have an idea. That's how we build the relationships and expand the communication and transparency. Thanks.
So I will echo what my other three competitors have said, and that Pickerington is a great school district. I wouldn't have moved here from Logan. I wouldn't have moved here from where I was if I didn't think it was. But as with any great organization, any great company, any great community, there's always room for change. There's always room for improvement. There's always room for things for you to add things to cater towards what's going on in your district. One thing for me that's very important is the mental health of our students. Mental health is a big crisis throughout the country. It's not even just in our schools, but one of the things I would like to do is to see us put more emphasis on the mental health of our children. And a lot of those things won't require a ton of financial resources. It may be just developing more relationships with Ohio Health. It could be developing relationships with psychologists and counselors across the county. Those are the things that I look forward. I know we've got a levy coming up in 2020, and while adding buildings and adding facilities and things like that are important for our kids, it's what's happening inside our classrooms, what's happening inside those buildings is what is most important to our children.
All right, now we're just going to allow each candidate 30 seconds for a brief closing, and we'll let Christian start that off.
All right. All right, hopefully I can cut this down real quick. Are we good? Okay, again, my name is Christian Johnson. I love Pickerington. This is what I love students, I love teachers, and the teachers saw that just due to my endorsement through the PEA. This is what I do. I don't have a hidden agenda. This is not a platform that's going to be a springboard and for me to be somewhere else. The truth of the matter is every great organization, Pickerington's changing. We need to figure out how we can strengthen the communications with local businesses. How can we get you guys into the schools? How can we come out to help you? And those are conversations I would love to have. Again, my name is Christian Johnson, and I am candidate for school board. Whew, man.
30 seconds.
30.
Yes, I'm Keith Christoph. I am currently a school board member, and I'm proud of that. The experience that I've gained over the last 4 years has been invaluable to me. I am passionate about Pickerington. I've been here for, 48 years now. I raised my family here. I have a strong financial background. I'm a controller for a number of companies, and that gives me a unique perspective on the schools, on the community, and I try to use that every day to do what's best for the students, for our children, for our grandchildren here in Pickerington. Thank you for your vote on November 5th.
Okay, thank you. First, I just want to say thanks for everybody again for being out here today. Thanks for listening to all of our ideas, all of our thoughts for why we're running for school board. I think it's important for all of us to know who we're voting for, what we're voting for when we go out to the polls on November 5th. I encourage everyone to go out to the polls on November 5th. I know there's not a ton to vote for, but these are very important issues that we're voting for. As myself, I'm a mother, I'm a homeowner, I'm a mother with a child that's in our school district today. I know some of the things that are going on, and I've seen my child struggle through some of the things, some of the issues that have happened in the school. So I thank you again for your time and look forward to your vote on November 5th.
I am an 8-year tenured board member of this school district. I've been off for 2 years, and what I know about the 2-year absence is how much I missed being on the board. Broadly, I missed serving this community. Where I feel led to serve again is on the Board of Education. I love this community. I believe in this community, and I can't wait to get back to serving, truly being a public servant and serving you and our students in this great community. I'm Kathy Olszewski. Thank you for your vote on November 5th.
All right, let's have a round of applause for all our school board candidates. All right, if we could have the township fiscal officer candidates come forward, please. We're running this thing at a very fast pace. We know that. We have to. We're trying to get you out of here by 1 o'clock today, but I'm sure all these folks will be around afterward if you'd like to get lengthier answers, ask them other questions, so on and so forth. All right, so same format here. We're going to allow each candidate 60 seconds for an introduction, and we'll start with Dan.
Hi, I'm Dan Griscom, and I'm very pleased to be here. The fiscal officer position is a rather low-profile position normally, but we got a lot of choices this year, don't we? And so I want to tell you what I can offer you. You know, when I'm looking for someone to do a job, whether it be a plumber or an electrician or a doctor or a lawyer, someone to do a service, what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for someone with a lot of experience, someone who's got a good reputation, someone who's got an integrity, and this is what I can bring to you. I've done this work for 35 years. I've been a fiscal officer for school districts for 30 years, including Pickerington Local Schools, and 5 years as a fiscal officer for the Westerville Public Library. I could walk right in and do this job. I've got awards for financial reporting, clean audits, saving money, saving hundreds of thousands of dollars for taxpayers. I look forward to doing the same for the township. Thank you.
Either or. Just hand it to either or. Doesn't matter.
Thank you. My name's Peggy Portier. For those of you who don't know me, I've lived here for 25 years. I used to be a paramedic, and I was a business owner in southeastern Ohio. I ran a wheelchair van transportation company over several counties. The reason I'm running for this office is I saw a need that I know I can fill. I've worked for the township part-time for just over 5 years. I cover 3 different desks, and I do special projects for the director. One of those projects was last year I updated the records retention policy for the township, which is directly related to the office I'm running for. The past 12 months, I've been working and assisting in the fiscal office, familiar with the software. I've taken training courses that directly relate. So I think that I am the best candidate for the office, and Jamie is about to cut me off. So hopefully we'll get more time for questions.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Niekamp. A lot of you already know me. If you want some information on my background, you can see my website, but I think what you really want to know today is why am I running for this position. I think it's really important that we have a fiscal officer at the township that has already built relationships with all the leadership in our community, that can work collaboratively, I could say, with the county, the city, and the township trustees. This position does not have a vote on the township, so it needs to work collaboratively with those trustees to look for ways to save you money. And while doing so, potentially keep money within inside of our township and locally in the county as well. So if elected, my promise to you would be to be timely with information to those trustees, be accurate with the information to not cost them money, and to also be as transparent as possible. Thanks.
All right, you just hang on to that.
Oh, hang on. Okay, first.
Because you're first on our first question, which is, what experience do you have that qualifies you for the position of Township Fiscal Officer?
Okay, so I worked for the state of Ohio for 24 years. In that time period, I was responsible for a $1.3 billion federal program with the Ohio Attorney General's office. I was also responsible during the entire 24 years to have no audit findings through any time that I was dealing with financial dealings, and to be ethical in those dealings as well. You can refer to anybody that I worked with at the state, and they will tell you that I was very honest, very trustworthy, and was very transparent. My experience with the state was that we always provided all of the information, not just the checkbook, but what the budget was, what our budget versus our expenditures were, online as well. So that is one thing that I think we need to look forward to. Thanks.
My whole career has been as being a fiscal officer. I have a bachelor's degree in accounting, a master's degree in public administration from The Ohio State University, and I have done this kind of work my whole career. One of the most challenging things I had to do as treasurer of the Pickerington local schools was help guide the schools through the most challenging economic time since the Great Depression. I think we all remember the Great Recession of 2008 and went into 2009. We had to take a $100 million budget and cut out $13 million, which is very painful, very difficult, but we worked together with the teachers and the staff and administration and the community and the board to make that happen. We did that while maintaining high educational quality, and we were able to make that happen with the collaboration with the community. I would collaborate with the trustees and also communicate very openly as we make decisions. Thank you.
I think I mentioned some of the reasons in my opening, mostly because I'm very familiar with the staff and the way the township operates. I'm familiar with how the fiscal office operates. My previous business experience, I know how to run an office and I manage employees. We do have a fiscal assistant that works in the fiscal office, so I would have experience in that. I do know, I wear a lot of hats around the community. Most of you probably know me in wearing different hats, but I do know the township trustees. I work well with them. I work well with other entities in the township and in the city, so I think that's an added benefit. Thank you, Jamie. I think I'm the best candidate because I can hit the ground running, literally. I'm already working part-time in the township office, and I have had people ask me about the conflict of interest. There is not a conflict of interest. It's not a partisan position, and I would not continue to hold that office after I was elected.
All right. Our next question, it's also our final question. What will be your top priorities if elected? And we'll have Peggy start this one.
Okay, thank you. My top priority is to regain trust with the electorate. I think the campaign that we had in May for the Fiscal, or for the community center caused some mistrust and misunderstanding with the township and the electorate. I'd like to regain that trust. I think that the public has a right to understand the information that they're getting, that they request. If they have trouble getting it, I want to be able to help them. I want to be able for them to think that they can come to me. I plan to be full-time in the office, and if they have a question, they can come in and talk to me. I will be very happy to explain any documents. Vanessa mentioned clear records. Township finances are like a puzzle, and the public doesn't understand it a lot of time. I'd be willing to help and sit with them if they need help understanding it or how to make a records request. I would help them do that.
Thank you. My priorities on coming into the office would be to make sure financial reporting is very clear and understandable. I have experience in doing that and making complex issues understandable for the public. I would also like to review all contracts and services that the township is now under to make sure that they're cost effective and using the resources in the best way. I would also like to make sure that all decisions deliberated upon are very clear and open, and work with the trustees to make sure that there's ample opportunity for public input on decisions that impact the residents of the community. I would like to make sure that all services are provided in a cost-effective way and the highest quality services are provided. I'm very conservative. I make the most out of tax dollars. I take that responsibility very seriously. Thank you.
So there's quite a few things that I would do right away. First thing is I would publish the records retention schedule online so that our community is aware of the records that the township maintains and how long they're maintained and how to go about receiving those records. Two, I would also work with the township trustees to see where we can collaborate with the city, county, and or the schools to utilize our buying power. I know the township has done that in the past when in potentially purchasing salt. They have purchased it in conjunction with the school district and utilized a much bigger buying power to save money. I would also, when possible, again, I would say I would look to keeping our money within inside our township, if at all possible. That it means buying our services and our products within inside Violet Township, within inside the county, and within inside the state wherever needed. Thanks.
Okay, and just like the last group, we're going to wrap up with a 30-second closing, and we'll let Peggy start that one.
Thank you. Again, my name is Peggy Portier. One thing that I've learned during this campaign is most people have no idea what the fiscal officer does. It comes down to two things. We maintain the records and handle the money. I do not have a vote, so I cannot help you get your road fixed, so don't think that's going to happen. What I will do is I will be in the office. I will make sure that all expenditures are for proper public purposes, and I will help residents with public records requests. So I appreciate your vote on November 5th. Thank you.
Either way.
30 seconds go by is really quick. So I'm Vanessa Niekamp. I really hope you vote for me on November 5th. I plan to utilize the relationships that I've already created in this community and to show you that I can be the best fiscal officer for you. I have the experience with my 24 years working for the state of Ohio and handling, again, a $1.3 billion program. I have service that I've provided to you in this community by being involved in multiple organizations. I am also a chamber member, but I also run your local food pantry as well. And I'm committed to the township. I know many people mentioned how long they have lived here, but I've lived here 22 years, raised my family, and I have small children in our schools as well. So please consider voting for me November 5th.
Hi, Dan Griscom, a resident of Summerfield, married, We have 5 grown children, 1 granddaughter. We enjoy the community. It's a beautiful community. I'd like to make it further enhanced with excellent financial services for the township. I think you'll find there's got a lot of choices here, and you probably won't see the most yard signs with Griscom on them, but I don't think you'll find a more qualified candidate. I'd be very happy to serve you. You can guarantee that I will make the most of your tax dollars. Thank you for your vote.
All right, let's have a round of applause for all our fiscal officer candidates. All right, thank you so much. And if we could have City Council make their way up here. All right, once again, this is going to be the same format. We'll allow everybody an introduction. We'll go through the questions, and everybody will get a closing. We will alternate who starts each time. So, 60-second opening, and we're going to start with Nick.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to Teresa and Michelle and the Chamber and all of you being here today. I appreciate your time and appreciate your willingness to hear us out today. As many of you may not know, I ran for school board a couple of years ago as a write-in in that fun race, and I'm now running for city council. I'm currently a member of the Pickerington Tax Appeals Board, so I've been able to serve the city in some capacity, and I look forward to sort of elevating that as I go. As I tell voters as I go door to door, I tell them, I want to elevate my, kind of work on the Tax Appeals Board and to city council. I'll say this real quick. I've worked in the legislature for 6 years. I served as the aide to the chair of the State and Local Government Committee. I worked on the transportation budget, where we increased the speed limit to 70. I worked as a policy advisor to the House, and I currently work as the director of legislative affairs at the Department of Higher Education. So I have a real big passion for public service. I love state and local government. I love the policy. I love to get in the weeds with those issues, and appreciate your support. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kevin Kemper, and first off, thank you all for coming out today. Really appreciate your attention. So I am running for City Council, and I am running because I really love this community, but I also see some opportunities that we are missing out on. You drive around town, you can see it every single day. There are commercial lots that are wide open that have been that way for years, no development on them, yet we have residential and retail after every residential and retail all over the place. So I think we can do better, and that's a missed opportunity. We don't have any business parks. The other thing is sidewalks and bike paths. We have a patchwork of that right now. It's a safety issue. It's an economic development issue. You can't safely get to downtown Pickerington on your bike. So I would like to work on that. And then the other thing is downtown Pickerington. We have a great little area. It could be so much more. So those are my main issues, and looking forward to your questions.
Thank you. Hi, my name is William Reed. I've been married 23 years, have 2 daughters, one in junior high, one in high school. I've been in public service for 21 years, a little over, since I moved to Pickerington 21 years ago. I work for the Franklin County Engineer's Office, and I spend a significant portion of my time reviewing development plans and analyzing how different types of development will impact things like drainage, infrastructure, the surrounding community. I'm also a licensed attorney and have a part-time legal practice. I too walk through the downtown area, and I see room for improvement. I see empty buildings and I see outdated buildings, but I also see the new entrepreneurs who are coming in, and I see an opportunity for growth. And I want to do my best to balance that growth so that it doesn't overburden our schools, and so that our city becomes a thriving, a vibrant city, a walkable city. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Brian Wisniewski. I am, Tuesday was my 31st anniversary, wedding anniversary, and it was 31 years and 2 weeks since I've moved to Pickerington. So, been a long time resident, been involved with City Council. I did 8 years from 2004 through 2012, and then took 8 years off while my kids were young and soccer dad and all that fun stuff. And getting back involved because I think that there's opportunities for the community to grow commercially. One of my first calls was, as I decided to run, was to Teresa Byers, asking her what issues the community faces, your business community. Met with some business leaders, local leaders, met with some other people, and I realized some of the red tape and some of the headaches that you guys go through in dealing with the city, and I think there's great opportunities to partner, and I hope to be your advocate on City Council on November 5th. Thank you.
Okay, our first question. If money were no issue, what is the first thing you would do to enhance the city of Pickerington? We'll have Kevin start this one.
Thank you. If money was no issue, there's a lot we could do. I guess the first issue that I think would make the biggest impact on the most people would be to bring in more sidewalks and bike paths all around the city. It would improve the quality of life for everyone. But the other thing is we need to look at investing in commercial development and creating a business park. You drive down Diley Road, for example, just past the city limits. Canal Winchester has a really nice business park out there. They're attracting light industrial manufacturing. You look all over the city, all over central Ohio. There's data centers being built in New Albany, warehousing, and we're not seeing any of that besides retail and pizza shops. And I love pizza, but I think we can do some more around here. So.
Okay. If money were no issue, I'd start with connecting the neighborhoods to the downtown area and the schools, every school, with sidewalks or pathways, whatever the case. I don't want any children walking on streets that don't have sidewalks, and we have it. Next, I would make sure we have room in the schools because we have exploded residentially in growth, but haven't kept up well, we're trying, but that's the whole point of the discussion before me, that we need more schools facilities and to help in the classrooms to get the teachers and everybody what they need. So school facilities, sidewalks, and I think that I would try to improve our development downtown because there's a great plan that was researched and well thought out, just not well developed yet. Thank you.
Fantasyland, money is no issue. I would work with Reynoldsburg, and the first thing I would do is work on another connector to get across 70 and an entrance ramp. I mean, half of my commute, I work in Polaris, and half of my commute is getting to 70 every morning, honestly. I spend 20 to 30 minutes on 256 every day. So I'm well aware of the issues that we face as residents. Infrastructure is a huge issue in the city. And one of the other things that I would do with that, obviously paving all of the streets in the city, and I would hire a massive amount of police in working in our safety forces. Honestly, we've had a lot of issues with neighborhood crime and car stealing and break-ins and a variety of things, and people want to feel safe. Business owners want to feel safe, and they don't want to have issues to worry about, for their customers, for themselves, for their employees. So that's where I would focus on.
I would, I echo the support there of the sidewalks, but I'd take a different approach. I've knocked doors now for about 2 months now, and I go in the older neighborhoods, and they gripe to me about the paving of the roads that haven't been paved in 20 years, the drainage issues they have. So, I'd probably focus on some infrastructure. put in some quality, state-of-the-art drainage systems that I could, that would help flow the water. Obviously, it's not a sexy topic, but it's something I think is really important to a lot of our residents that have been here for a very long time. It's an issue that really kind of drives at them when I go and talk to them. So I think drainage is very important. But again, too, sidewalks to connect our pavements. I walked Columbus Street, knocked doors. I'll tell you, I was going to get killed 3 times walking it. But I realized that I think that is something I'd like to focus on as well as put some infrastructure in. Thanks.
Okay, our next question. What specifically would you do to encourage collaboration between the city, township, and/or county to drive business growth for the region? I'll say that one again. That's a long one. What specifically would you do to encourage collaboration between the city, township, and/or county to drive business growth for the region? And we'll have William start this one off.
First of all, I would get to know the folks that are the officials in those places, in the township and in the other communities. I think that it helps to build relationships through helping the other agencies, not only financially, but being willing to partner with them and working through plans so that when it comes time to make decisions on how to work together, say on a recreation center or on some connector, that the people know each other. We know who is going to be making the decisions, and then working through the arguments together for and against, and try to do it in a positive way. Work for solutions instead of trying to blame each other for not doing things, or finding reasons to not invest, to not partner with folks. It starts with communication and relationships.
I'd echo his comments as far as communication. When I was on City Council, we signed a joint economic development district agreement with Violet Township, Lancaster, and Canal Winchester. So I've worked cooperatively with these other cities and townships, and believe that it's all communication. We all have to put our egos aside and do what is best for the area as a whole as far as we develop. We're not going to accomplish anything operating in a vacuum. It just simply will not happen. And we all need to work cooperatively and look for those opportunities for big commercial development that would improve the development in the region, not just within our small city limits or within the township. We need to think more regionally and work with all of our partners, and that includes our county commissioners as well, and include them in the process. Thank you.
I'll say this. 2 years ago, I suggested that a business advisory council be started with the schools and the districts, or with the schools and the council and the businesses. And so hopefully, if elected, I get to work with the superintendent and on kind of creating that. It's permitted under state law, so it's ripe for opportunity. I know the chamber has one, but I think that it would be great to, it's a great connector because we can bring everybody in this room and give us your ideas about where's the pipeline? What are the needs of our students? I think that it's really important to kind of hone in on that. Workforce is ever so demanding right now. It's interesting kind of where I work and seeing in the space of how the trades are kind of coming in, which I think is fantastic. But also, trying to kind of blend in that kind of where does the student fit and how can the city be supportive of that along with the schools and the businesses. Thank you.
So cooperation among the local communities is a big issue for me. I didn't get to touch on it at the beginning. But so I know that a couple years back, around the time when we were looking at the community center, there was a group that communicated quite a bit. It was I think it was called an EDGE group. And you had members of the township and the city and maybe the school board too who would get together on a semi-regular basis and talk about issues. It fell apart over the community center. And so that's something that I would like to bring back up, this EDGE group. And it could meet on a semi-regular basis, but as the other folks up here have said, working together, putting aside egos, that's the only way we're going to get some things done around here. Big issues, big things like connectors, or whether it's a new business park or eventually maybe another community center. So working together, working collaboratively, and setting up a group like that.
Okay. Our next question. Under what circumstances do you believe that it is acceptable to approve an ordinance or resolution with one reading as opposed to the accustomed 3 readings that take place with City Council? We'll have Brian start this one off.
There are plenty of reasons, honestly. A lot of things dealing with the finances. There are issues that are for public safety. When I was on council, we actually changed the city charter to make sure that anything that was being passed by emergency had to have specific language associated with it. As to what the welfare was, what the reasons were, and it had to be very well documented. There was an abuse of emergency legislation far before I was on council, but we made sure that we changed that. As far as having 3 readings, there's still a 30-day grace period before things go into effect. So even if you do change and you modify the for three readings, there's still a 30-day grace period, so it's not like things are going in willy-nilly on those type of things. But there are definitely things like financing where you do want to have 3 readings in one night for those type of issues.
The purpose of having more than one reading isn't to inform the people that are making decisions. It's to inform the public and to give the public an opportunity to speak before, or to speak on whether for or against that, whatever's being voted on. There are cases, there are times when there's a need, there's exigent circumstances, like a bridge collapsed and they need to pass funding to get the bridge fixed, or some safety issue, something the fire or police need something quickly. But what we should never do is we should never strip the public of the process, the right that is set up for them to be informed and then have a chance to speak. I can't imagine a more sacred thing. They vote for us, they elect us to make decisions for them, they pay our tax, or they pay us, and yet I don't think that they should be, that their one opportunity to speak about those issues should be taken from them. It may not change it. Thank you.
So this is an issue that I have some feelings about. I was at the last council meeting when legislation like this was passed, and my view is, first off, there was no warning that legislation was going to be waived, and specifically I'm talking about the legislation to increase the mayor's pay by 240%. That should have had 3 readings. There was no reason for that to just have 1 reading. There is legislation that, yes, I believe can be waived, as others have said, if it's an emergency, if it's a financing issue. But when you're waiving legislation, waiving readings for the pay for a public official, that doesn't pass the smell test.
I would say I come from the world of parliamentary procedure and Robert's rules, so I've been in those. I can understand where legislation, bills in the General Assembly go through without 3 hearings, but I will say I do wish that there were 3 hearings on it, just because I think it would be a little bit cleaner of a situation. Just from a parliamentary procedure perspective, I think that's just where I stand. I can understand where council's coming from, but at the same time, I can see why why citizens would be upset about something going through very quickly. But and that's how I feel. Thanks.
All right, and then our final question. What do you think could or should be done to make it easier for businesses to move to or expand in Pickerington? And we'll have Kevin start this one off.
So we have some great employees in the city that are working hard, I think, to help businesses out. We have a great chamber that I know does its best to, all of you work well with small businesses that are trying to open up. We do need to try to streamline the process. I know there's an issue about impact fees that business owners have told me are too high. There's an issue that business owners have said. I talked to someone today that was saying, having all of the reviews outsourced to outside engineers, architects, et cetera, adds higher costs to the businesses when they're trying to open, and they end up spending more money on fees than, than where it could better be spent. So these are issues I think that we can work on. Even as simple as bringing in almost a sort of business liaison role that could walk businesses hand in hand through the process.
Yeah, echoing Kevin, I think that, working with the chamber, obviously, and trying to figure out kind of what are some innovative businesses we can bring here, and working with all of you and your ideas, I think that's really important. I think we're ripe for opportunity for great expansion of businesses. I think that bringing Ohio Health in was really great, not to plug them, and I think that was a great kind of a big business to come into our community, but also our smaller businesses. It was great to see a hair salon open up downtown. It was great to see that open. I appreciate the city's sort of commitment to wanting to bring in new businesses, innovative businesses, and I would like to be an agent of change and to help that. Thank you.
I think there are a few different ways to invite development. There's a lot of developers that want to come. They realize that we have a huge residential population that would support commercial development. One way to help them or to invite them in is to reduce the impact fees, or to reduce the financial cost of getting through plan approval and having them pay for actual impact on traffic or on drainage. And I do fully support reviewing those plans for those reasons. If it impacts those things, we should be charging. But I think you should also offer incentives in the ways of abatements, some sort of tax breaks to bring them in. You have to have a long-term vision. And if it's going to be a good employer in the city, a good support for the city, then it makes sense to help them.
Plan reviews, plan reviews, plan reviews. I've heard that repeatedly, that there's a problem with the current contractor. And obviously that's going to be one of the things that's top of my list to get that taken care of and make sure that we get someone new in that position. Secondly, I think that everything that goes through planning and zoning needs to do so more quickly. And even if something is voted down in planning and zoning, I think it needs to be heard by city council regardless of what planning and zoning does. I think every business owner should have the opportunity to make their case to city council as to why they're going to be a benefit to the city. And there are definitely times where they get caught up in processes and red tape that is detrimental to them, and they spend way too much money in fees. Every fee that you guys pay is money that's coming out of your bottom line, your employees, your own family. There's not a lot of reason for some of the processes that we have, and we need to just get that taken care of and corrected. Thank you.
All right, and then we are going to wrap up with a closing, so everybody will have 30 seconds for a brief closing, and we'll let Kevin kick this one off.
Well, again, thank you all so much for your time today and your attention. My name's Kevin Kemper. I'm running for City Council. I think what you're hearing today is that all of the issues, the common thread is that there needs to be a new vision. And I have a vision for Pickerington where we can bring more development, we can improve the quality of life for our citizens. November 5th is the election. I have more information available in the back and on my website, kemperforpickerington.com. I'm also on Facebook. Please look me up. And thank you.
Again, Nick Dirksen, running for City Council. I've got 2 boys, a 4-year-old and 1-year-old, Andrew and Albert. I really care about this community. I care about the future of it, especially for my family. And I care about for all of you. Safety, drug prevention, and smart growth. I mean, those are my 3 things. And when I get on, I will be hitting the pavement hard. I'll be talking with as many people as I can, as an exercise by my dedication to wanting to knock doors and talk to our individuals, our residents. I can't tell you enough how much I love this city. My wife's a lifelong resident, and my in-laws have lived here for a very long time. Thank you very much.
I think local communities thrive when the leadership is fluid and creative, not when they're stuck in unconventional or conventional policies and practices. I see a lot of opportunity, and I believe in the group, the Pickerington, that everyone else sees. We've enjoyed, for 21 years, I've enjoyed Pickerington. That's because of the hard work of people that came before me, and I recognize that, and I want to build on that, okay? I don't want to take anything away from the work that's been done. There are a couple seats open, and I want to be one of the people that add to the future. Thank you.
First of all, thank you all for coming out today. I appreciate it. I really want to be an advocate for the business community. I spoke with Teresa, and I think that there really is a need for someone on City Council to have the ear of the business community and to listen to the concerns. I know that in conversations with her, there's many businesses that are afraid of being the squeaky wheel at the city. They're afraid to come forward, that they're afraid that they're going to have some black mark against them, and I don't think that that's the way that the business community should feel. I think that you really need to focus on your own businesses, being successful, work with Teresa, and then if she could work with me, I think it would be a great opportunity. Thank you.
All right, folks, well, we're kind of coming in on 2 wheels here, and like I said, we had to do this quick today to get it all in, but I think one thing you can find in common with every candidate who's been here today, they have websites, they're available, you can access them to ask questions and go deeper. So with that, let's have a round of applause for all of our City Council folks.